Star Stable Online was released in 2011 in Sweden, and then released globally in 2012. In 2018, Nordisk Games acquired hefty shares in Star Stable, and from there, things were different. It's always been said that since 2018, the game and the company has been going downhill, and so now it's time to look into just how far that goes. I'd like to take time to give special thanks to my head of research and interviews for this documentary, Cosmic Jinx, also known as Jinx. Without her, this video would not have happened. The earliest news post on Star Stable's official website is from August 20th, 2014, so that's where we'll start. The researcher has taken a look through every single post, thoroughly, to pick out important notes of information. So what exactly are we looking at here? Well, we're looking at the drastic fall in communication between the company and the community. How players feel like they are forced to riot, argue and start drama over small things. How the company now treats the community like children. So what happened in the past that was so great? Well, to start, the news posts were vastly different to how they are now. A lot of the titles feel more wholesome in a way. The posts also felt more immersive to being in the game. For example, it kind of felt like we were reading the Jorvik Gazette, a newspaper in the game itself. Jorvik's chattiest have been a whole week to get to grips with our new epic emote system, and we've had a great feedback from so many players that we're going to treat you all to some brand new extra emotes to play with. Just in that small section alone there was so much to unpack. The main thing that stood out to me was, we've had such great feedback from our players. Why is this important? Well, let's think about the last few times when players have been given feedback recently and it felt pushed aside. The Jorvik Frisian update in 2020. In 2020, Star Stable released posts talking about the updating of the Frisian. They showed exclusive behind-the-scenes looks at the model for the horse and asked for player feedback, yet despite the immense amount of feedback what we saw in the grayscale compared to the model in game was very nearly unchanged. It made players wonder why Star Stable bothered to ask if they weren't going to change anything. The player update. This could honestly spark a video on its own, but the main points is the players have been asking even before the update went live for more diverse body types, yet since the update we haven't had a single word about it. Those are just two, but very important things in the recent years, where players have given Star Stable feedback, yet it's felt like we've had nothing to show for it. What else did we have that is evidently missing now? Reimbursement. In older posts, it didn't feel like the company were giving us an update. It felt like a friend telling us about a cool new update. We got funny jokes in the past, and much more in-depth looks at updates well before they were released. For example, prior to the Dino Valley update, we got plenty of posts about it, which helped hype the players up for it. These included spoiler photos, interviews with developers, Meet the Dino Valley Gang, which was a post dedicated to introducing all the new NPCs we'd meet in Dino Valley. Alongside these, we had lots of information given to us, like information about the area, lore and backstory, requirements and some of the challenges we'd be facing, such as the dense fog and cold tolerance, which has now been removed. It also seemed that for this area, Star Stable were very involved in talking to the community and getting feedback about the area. It did really feel like Star Stable appreciated the community. Why does it feel like that's changed now? Is it because Star Stable wants to focus more on its profits rather than its players? Is it that they want their posts to come off as professional and corporate rather than fun and friendly? On September the 29th, 2014, there was a game update that took around 5 hours to implement into the game. When the game went back live, Star Stable gave players a full-day Star Rider to paying subscribers to make up for the time loss. It's been a long while since we've had this. As we go through the rest of the documentary, you'll see more reimbursements pop up. But let's take a look at a random recent date. January the 15th, 2025, the Corella update. Servers went down at approximately 8:15 British Standard Time, and servers went back up at 3:55 PM. No reimbursement for players, nothing. You may think this is a minor thing, something that we shouldn't focus on, but we disagree. If an issue occurred during updating, Star Stable would give back to their players as an apology for any time they've missed out due to their issue. Now, we don't get that, and if a player is paying for a month's Star Rider, they've lost a good chunk of their playtime with nothing back for it. This seems unfair. Another example of Star Stable reimbursing players was when they had big issues with their servers. Players received free Star Stable care during downtime, Star Riders got 4 extra days of their subscription for free, and everybody got a free t-shirt via code. Now we're going to touch on a delicate topic, free codes. Christmas 2014, we got a free code for 200 free star coins. Valentine's 2015, we got a free code for 200 free star coins. York Fashion Week 2015, we got a free code for, you guessed it, 200 star coins. In less than a few months, Star Stable released 3 codes that gave in total 600 free star coins. In Easter 2015, Star Stable released a free Star Rider code. This code benefited players who had already been playing by giving them 2 extra free days added to their current subscription period. May 2015, we got a free code for 200 star coins. Midsummer 2015, Star Stable released gifts for all players. This included a gift for lifetime Star Riders, 3 extra days for Star Riders for non-lifetimes, a code for 3 days of Star Rider for free players. Yet again in 2015 we had another free 500 star coin code. During Star Stable's birthday celebrations, they released a free gift for all Star Riders and once again released a code for 3 days of free Star Rider. When the new launcher was released, Star Stable gifted players 200 free star coins. So in total for 2015, players received 1,000 free star coins, around 11 days of free Star Rider. Now, in recent months, we have seen an increase in codes, but the amount we get is nowhere near as what it was back in 2015. We want to give credit where it's due, because so far, as of April 17th, 2025, we've had around 430 star coin codes. However, a sad fact of this point is that none of the codes were found via news posts. They were released in their social media posts across things like Facebook, Instagram and TikTok. This is an issue because not everyone has access to social media. Some players may rely solely on the news posts, and if codes aren't on there for them to see, they may miss out. It's such a small detail, but it's such a widely miscommunication that in a way it's making it unfair for people. From what we can see, we believe that Star Stable stopped putting codes like this into their news posts from around late 2016/2017. So why do we think this is important for the fall of communication? Well, we as players feel disregarded. We feel more pressured to buy the star coins with money rather than waiting on Star Stable to release them on their news posts. It followed the users to give back to their community a lot more often and a lot more openly. The best way I can look at the old news posts again is like a friend telling me about the game and the codes. However, in recent years it feels like I'm reading a corporate letter. We also notice a lot more sales and promotion. So does Star Stable free content/discounts equal better communication? No, and that's something we want to make clear. It's not that Star Stable was just throwing codes at us. It is in fact that it felt like it was stemmed from the community and company being so close. It felt like all the support we gave in Star Stable was being heard and appreciated. In 2018, Star Stable hosted the first and I believe last Star Stable Live. A live stream where there were interviews, sneak peeks, gifts and more. Not only was it a live streaming event, it was a physical event. The community could go to see and take a look at everything. This is such an important thing. Players could talk to Star Stable in real life, give their feedback and more. It was such a good way for the community to feel more connected to the company and get a deeper insight into what actually goes on. We do very much wonder where the employees that were in that live are now. We know for sure that it looks like Hampus and Stacey are still within the company, but we're unsure on everyone else. Please note that we didn't do a deep dive into the employees. We felt this was a little bit too far for this documentary. Seeing the interview really gives players an insight into how the game works. This is so important to bridge the connection between community and company because players can really feel like they actually know what goes on. It feels like nowadays we don't really have a big insight into the company, other than the social media team goofing off. A small note I want to make is that during the concept art for the updated Soul Riders we see an alternate riding outfit for the Soul Riders, which we get to see in game. In my opinion this is quite disappointing. Let's now move our attention to possibly one of the biggest burnt bridges of communication we've had, the removal of Star Stable ambassadors. The ambassador program was introduced in February 2017. The program was a way for Star Stable to promote players that spread positivity and created lots of content. However, as most who played during this era of ambassadors know, there was a big stigma surrounding them. A lot of player ambassadors and non-ambassadors heavily abused this program. The ambassadors would be involved with releasing spoilers, doing giveaways and promotional content with Star Stable. They were supposed to be the biggest link between Star Stable the company and Star Stable the players. However, the bright light that this program brought soon turned dark and twisted. Players would abuse the requirements to become an ambassador. They would overflow with content, often heavily defending and sucking up to Star Stable for a chance to become an ambassador. Jinx conducted an interview with a fellow content creator within the community who had a large insight into the program and its issues. We've been asked to keep their identity a secret, but we thank them for helping us achieve a lot of information for this, which we will be sharing with you shortly. This is a special note from my editor Jinx. I've been playing Star Stable since 2014. I've also been quite active on the game, but during the time of the ambassadors, I honestly think I only ever saw and interacted with one ambassador. The only reason I ever got into contact with them was because I had a member in my club at the time who was an ex-member of the Ambassadors Club. During one of our open events, who had invited the ambassador and their club to join. It was honestly such a fun time. I'd been lucky enough afterwards to have a lengthy conversation with the ambassador. They mentioned how they were one of the few ambassadors at Star Stable that gave Star Stable negative feedback alongside the positive. It was a refreshing conversation because of that point, and I had seen from ambassadors was just defending Star Stable for every single thing. This ambassador was kind enough to take our suggestions to Star Stable. This was my one and only interaction with an ambassador in the game. Outside of that, I feel like ambassadors could have been a very important connection between the company and the community. It's a shame that Star Stable never took it anywhere. So why do we want to focus on ambassadors so much? As we've said, it's because it could be such a strong link between the company and the community. To have community members stand up and be the voice of many, to bring forth constructive criticism, to make the players feel heard. At some point we've all emailed Star Stable with an idea for the game or some form of feedback, and we've had the same automated response and nothing else. And that's fair enough. Star Stable can't individually respond to each message, but imagine you were talking to an ambassador about things for the game. They can actually discuss it with you and even potentially push your idea forward. There's a connection. When someone responds to you, you have a conversation. It feels like you're being heard, and that's the important for the community to feel heard. That's why this documentary is so important to us. We as a community want to feel heard by our favourite game. We want to feel like as players we are appreciated and not seen as cash machines. We honestly can't tell you the reason why there was such a fall in connection. Whether the company matured to the point where they know their players will stay no matter what they do, whether we as players grew too greedy too quickly, or maybe it's simply the fact there's no need for a better connection. But there are ways to bridge the gap again, small things that could change the way the community reacts and acts. The real question is though, will it ever change?